think that, or the whole background of getting, a ton of RAM and a ton of processor space and a ton of cores was to do some of these larger studio mixes of Logic projects. Say if you have a symphony or you have like a full orchestra or something that you're trying to do a mix of, you have these live effects and compressors running on every track, and you could have up to 100 or 1,000 tracks or something running with these live effects that have to be processed on it. And so the idea was, and I've heard this at other times, that larger studios would take Mac Pros and run them in tandem so that they would have as many tracks as that individual Mac Pro could have, and then that would be bussed down. That would be bussed down into another mixer where they would have all of those. Is that making sense? Yeah, they would have, let's say, like, let's say 100 tracks would be on Mac Pro 1, and then they would have 300 tracks in total. So they would have Mac Pro 2 and 3, and each of those would have 100 tracks that it was responsible for operating in Logic. And then it would run in tandem and then be mixed out to a bus so that you would have all of those tracks rendered down into the 300 onto their channels. I don't know. It's crazy stuff, but it's kind of this like reduction process. They don't need to do that anymore, apparently, because is what they're trying to sell. These the newer Mac Pros, or if you max out a computer to its fullest, you can kind of handle some of these larger processor intensive projects like that. In response to that, man, I remember in 2003 using Cool Edit Pro to do 24-track, multi-track projects on a computer with 800 megahertz, and I didn't really have a problem with it. So I'm not really quite sure what I'm understanding about Logic or about audio production stuff in that capacity. It seems like there's some other tools or other utilities around. Not tools, but just some other concepts, right? That allow you to do stuff without some of the some of the processor limitations. That's always kind of frustrating when the technology kind of gets in there to fight with you. But I'm sure that the intent of it is that you do more live processing. That means you have to do less rendering time on each individual track. And man, the mixing process can be really frustrating if you have to render out a million different variations of changes, which is kind of different projects that I've gotten stuck in over the years. So, man, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But it's cool, yeah. Been trying out Logic Pro 10.5 in the studio stuff, learning some keyboard controls, learning how to run some live loops, been trying to mess around with some different mixes and stuff. It's cool, yeah. You just grab those loops, throw them in. I can make what I've been trying to do is make like a drum, bass, and sort of texture sound loop that kind of has a couple changes in it, and then I can take a guitar, plug it into the audio interface, set effects that are built into Logic. You can pull up like a pedal board in Logic and then have that adapt the sound of your incoming real instrument and then run that into a track, or even just play live into a track and then have those live loops kind of running on the side of it. So you can kind of create like a jam loop or something. You don't have a band to play with, so you can kind of create a couple other instruments that have pieces and then that are in a key that are going to repeat, and then you can kind of find whatever it is in the guitar that you want to kind of work out an idea or work on playing through something. So it's kind of cool. I've been trying that out a bit too. And then once you do have an idea, it's really easy to just kind of lay that down into a track and create a demo out of it. So it's really fun. Logic Pro 10.5. You guys got to check it out.